Ciao! This is my video for the journal presentation. I'm Haley, by the way, and I decided to make a photo journal. So, before I even got to Florence, I knew I wanted to do something really artistic and creative with my journal. I didn't want to just put my tickets in a journal and write about it. I knew I wanted to either incorporate drawings or photographs or paintings or whatever, graphics. And so after I got here, I really gained more of a sense of what I wanted to portray. So yeah, I ended up picking photographs, and this is my first ever photo book that I've made. I've been taking pictures for a year. I've had my camera for a year. Oh, 1 year anniversary. And yeah, so when I first got here, I really explored the more touristy areas. I remember my first night here very, very clearly. I was staying in a hostel down the street from the apartment on Via di Nazionale. Via di Nazionale? I don't know. That one street that has Nazionale. And it was a very interesting experience. I loved it because it was so different from anything that I've ever done before. I went out with my roommates in the hostel, and it was 11 p.m., but we wanted to go exploring, so we went to the Duomo, and it was gorgeous. It was lit up completely. You could see every detail, even though it was nighttime. And then we walked to the Uffizi, and that was gorgeous too. There was a guy playing saxophone, and it was just surreal. We walked to the Ponte Vecchio, and no one was there. And at the time I didn't realize that was a weird thing, but looking back, I'm like, the Ponte Vecchio is never empty. There are always people there. But I mean, that night, I guess it was early May, so maybe the tourists hadn't quite gotten here yet. So yeah, most of my photographs the first couple days, the first week, were really of the market and of people just in their shops or selling stuff or buying things, just people doing normal stuff in normal places. But after a week of that, I really just wanted to find places in Florence that were different, places that are more local and unknown to tourists. So I went exploring, and I found this really beautiful underground tunnel. Let's see, there's one main tunnel that I walked down, and then there's 4 other tunnels. I mean, they're all kind of branching out like tree branches, but it's beautiful because they're all covered in graffiti, even the ceilings, and I just, it kind of symbolizes or represents my journey that I've experienced here the past 6 weeks. I went from being above ground, kind of just looking at what was in front of me, to delving deeper and going underground and finding all these, interesting, creative, unique places. And creativity comes from very unexpected areas. But anyway, that place was cool. I've been to it 3 times. I kind of want to go back before I leave, but yeah, my photographs became more about the local people and the everyday life of just kids, shopkeepers, dogs who live in Florence. And yeah, I kind of went through a phase where I took a bunch of super touristy photographs, and then I would get home and be like, oh, I don't want to edit them, these are gross. I could just literally Google Michelangelo's David on the computer and find, 1,000 pictures that are way better than the ones I took. And that was really discouraging, actually, that I kind of didn't know what else to do. I was like, oh, my photography, it's it's kind of dead. But I don't know, my photographs, they've evolved in a very interesting way. I'm really happy with how this trip allowed me to experiment, because I've never been able to take pictures like street photography really in Tempe. I mean, I've never really tried because I've always just been busy with school, and I don't know, it's hard to go alone actually. And I don't even know where to go in Phoenix, but I'll have to find a place, because this trip really opened up a lot of creative avenues for me. I think one of the main things I would say I learned from this trip is just to capture emotion in art. I realized halfway through this trip that, you know, you can take as many pictures as you want of touristy areas and like whatever, but really what makes it interesting and unique is the emotion and the ideas that you capture and how you capture them. I mean, that's probably pretty obvious, but I don't know. Photography, it's easy to just, you know, sit back and look through the lens and like snap a picture, and like especially with digital photography, it's super easy to just get caught up in taking as many pictures as you want. But towards the end, if you look in the journal I gave you, you'll see that the pictures became a lot more subtly emotional. I found myself taking pictures of people or places or landscapes that spoke to me. And I think that's really what made me successful in the end, and what really opened up photography to me as an expressive medium and as something I could just make an entire book of, even though I've never done it before. So overall, I would just say that, you know, I knew this was going to be a really personal journey. I knew that it was going to be surreal and it was going to go really fast, but I didn't realize that it would be so tied into my art. And I really learned a lot as a creative individual and someone who just, you know, needs to express themselves constantly. And it was interesting that, you know, this trip became so much more about who I am as an artist and what I want to say as an artist, rather than, you know, actually meeting new people or finding new places. I mean, I did do all those things, but it actually just contributed to my art and who I am as a person, and like what my ideas are and how I want to look at life, I guess. So it was all just kind of like the bigger picture, and I thought that was interesting. I spent a lot of time thinking about, you know, what all of this means and why I'm here, and is this just like a social journey? Is it just a way to meet new people, or I don't know, see new places, or what is this for exactly? And you know, I had a really sort of tough school year. It's pretty much summarized by this text that one of my best friends sent me at the very end of spring. She sent me, "Hey, I feel like you kind of aren't a part of my life anymore." And you know, that's just, it's really sad because I'm a really obsessive person. I work really hard, and it's like, it's not even necessary, really. I just enjoy it. Like, I like working hard, and I like making things that are meaningful to me, like things like this, and you know, like seeing the results. It's so cool and it's so fun. But I think just being here made me realize that sometimes, you know, you have to slow down and just enjoy yourself. And so, yeah, and it's been an amazing trip. Thank you so much for everything you do, Kiara. I never thought that I would be so appreciative of a single person for so many reasons. I never would have learned like all of these things about myself and my work and life without your planning and like just, I mean, your optimism all the time and your encouragement. And I'm just really glad that I was on this specific trip, because meeting you and being around Nancy all the time and all the people who happened to sign up for this trip this year, it's just been amazing. So thank you. You're an inspiration. I hope you enjoy the photo book I gave you. Ciao! Arrivederla!